advice would you have for a new realtor joining this industry? And nothing really important happened on July 1st that changed the industry in any kind of way. So taking current events into mind.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
maybe this wouldn't impact the advice you have at all. But new realtor joining, what would you tell them?
I don't know that it, and I would impact it too much. Just wait for the dust to settle on it. It's
Hmm.
changed, right? It's changed.
Hmm.
People get used to it. My for a new realtor, my advice would be, um, before if you're sitting down with brokerages or people talking, potentially joining a team or not a team, and they're just talking, it's more than just splits, right? Stop talking about splits. Like
Hmm.
find somebody who's going to speak some like knowledge and truth into like how you think you want to run your business. Like find a mentor, find somebody that you can really lean on to learn because the classes are classes, and um it's not a sure way to like set up a successful business. So really just like building your people that you can lean on. Do the homework. I think like, get your finances right, your ducks in a row. Talk to an accountant ahead of time. I think a lot of people dive in not understanding this is not your normal W-2 pay. You're now a contractor. You need to set taxes aside. What's a write-off? Like, do you have an LLC or an S corp, and like what are the benefits? Like really doing all of that ahead of time. People are thinking, well, what if I don't bring in enough money to matter? Like it matters. It matters if you close a $10,000 transaction or if you bring in $200,000 that year. It matters. Like so just getting that all set up, finding the right people, like just don't worry about your freaking splits at the beginning. Like find a place that you feel like this is like a place I can, be supported. And people will help me out. And I think that's my advice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great advice. That's great advice. Well, and you mentioned, I mean, like getting yourself set up, and one of your answers earlier, we talked about how am I going to make this work for me? And
Right.
something I feel like a common thread for a lot of realtors that I work with is you have to have a level of self-awareness before
Yeah.
you get into the business. You can't just fumble your way into some people I think feel like they might have fallen backwards into real estate, but most folks have a good enough sense of who they are, how they operate and
Yep.
what's going to work for them. Because there's a million ways to do it, and there's a million different types of realtors, and there's a million different types of lenders, and we all kind of have our own approaches. So I like that. Definitely set yourself up at the beginning.
Yes, and it's okay. I mean, the first like year, maybe even 18 months, like you're gonna feel like you're all over the place. And you're gonna try out all these things, and that's okay. Like you don't expect to come into it and have these systems that, took me 6 years to get here. It's okay if you want to try door knocking and be like, I don't like this, and then you're gonna try pop buys and you're like, this is too much work, and you find it wherever. And so you're gonna feel like you're all over the place. Somebody gave me this tracker too at the beginning that they were like, track your activity, like
Mm.
because even if you're having a phone call, with your best friend and she's like, "Oh, I think we need to like sell a house," and you're not even really like talking about it. Like it still is a real estate conversation or a handwritten note, or you take somebody to coffee, whatever you're doing, like track your activity because you're running 24/7. And I've set up my mind to be okay with that. But in the beginning, you feel like I just ran around all freaking day long and I accomplished nothing. And then you look back and you're like, oh, I did so many things. And so the tracker is good because, you look 3 months forward, 3 to 6 months after that, you look back and you're like, what was I doing that generated this business? And so really keeping it organized, because when you're first trying to do it, you don't know where your business is going to come from. And you can't expect to just like do things for a few weeks and then be like, oh, this is where it's going to come from. You got to put in the time, you got to try out different things to really understand how to get there. So,
Right.